I really appreciate how you made the point of distinguishing between the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese people. Um, Perhaps one of the most powerful pieces of propaganda, and there are a great many powerful pieces of the propaganda that the CCP employs, is to conflate itself with the Chinese people. It always says you're going to hurt the feelings of the Chinese people if you do X or Y, and so forth. And I mean, and that I think we've internalized to some extent. Certainly, the Chinese people have internalized. And you talk about in your book how the Chinese people aren't necessarily going to go along with the CCP. What portion of the population, do you have a sense of this, is actually clearly can delineate itself against the CCP?
Well, the party says it has about 96 million members, and let's assume that that's true, and let's assume that a big chunk of those 96 million are there just because they have to be for reasons of career. So perhaps half of those individuals are diehards. But sadly, to run a tyranny, you only need a small number of individuals who are willing to act ruthlessly to impose their vision, their tyranny on the society. Your point is an excellent one. The CCP does its utmost to link itself to the Chinese people, but also to the greatness of Chinese civilization, which of course is incoherent. The CCP is a communist government. It is a Leninist government. Leninism has nothing to do with China or Chinese civilization. It's a Western import, the CCP, and it should be seen as such. It's incoherent in terms of Chinese history, and it was able to come to power because of Joseph Stalin and the Communist International. And so, and it stays in power as a result of the tyranny of Mao and subsequent leaders. And so when we look at that, we need to understand that this is a Western artifact imposed and holding back the greatness of Chinese civilization and the Chinese people. And so we need to recognize as well that they're not allowing votes, right? They're not allowing essentially any type of feedback in terms of how popular are they, how much support do they generate, do they actually possess among the Chinese people. And when you look at it, and particularly look at the example of Taiwan, it's quite clear that the Chinese people would be far better off without the tyranny of the Chinese Communist Party.